This month of December, I'm going to do a different series of lives. It's the end of the year, and I'm seeing that a lot of actors are coming to us and they're feeling very frustrated, very annoyed, disappointed, unhappy about what happened in 2021, how little work you may have gotten, how little auditions, how things got complicated on set, how projects got canceled. So there's a lot of, I'm seeing a lot of feelings, actually more than in general. But usually when the end of the year comes, we may have a tendency to look back at what did we get this year and feel some frustration, right? I'm seeing a lot of actors who have felt a lot of frustration this year because you didn't get enough auditions, or not the auditions you wanted, because you didn't book, maybe because you didn't get enough money from acting, maybe because it didn't feel right when you were acting and when you were defending a character, right? Maybe because you caught yourself actually not doing all the things that you know that you would want to do in order to be able to show up fully you. So what we're going to do this month is actually take a hard look. So not a judgmental look at 2021, not a, it's not to judge what you've done. It's not to compare yourself to others. It's not to give you a grade. So we're not going to work into a school conditioning type of thing where we look and criticize. That's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do this month, and we're going to move the needle with this so that you guys can actually start by taking a hard look at what did you get this year? What has worked for you? What has not worked for you? And actually really be able to just observe, to see where you're at, to really, in a way, come back to your professional self. Because these feelings that you may have felt this year, or that you may be feeling at the end of this year, which is to say, oh my God, it's like I'm putting so much heart in this, and so much of my time, and maybe even so much of my money, and so much of my hope into this career. And when I look back at 2021, it just doesn't feel right. I didn't have the opportunities. And when I did it, I was just too rusty to show up for them. I want you guys to be able to look at that and just be with it for a little bit. Not to judge it, but just to see in a professional way. I want you to go to your professional self. So there's the emotional self that's looking back at 2021 and maybe going, ugh, and you're getting very emotional. And if you're not doing anything at that moment, if you're not being that emotion and looking through it and analyzing and taking action, what you may do is nothing. And you may just be like, oh, I hope it's different next year. Or you may catch yourself complaining a lot and wishing the industry would change or your chances would change. So you might be sitting in a lot of wishful thinking. When emotions are big, if you're in the middle of those big frustrated and angry emotions, you're not going to be very professional. So what I would like to offer you this month is to get you back to a little bit of structure so that you can look at what's been happening, and so that we can, first of all, this week, analyze what's happened to you, right? So that we can analyze where you're at. It's like going to the doctors once a year and you do your check-in. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the end of year check-in with where you are at. We're going to draw some blood and look at, okay, so what has worked and what hasn't worked. And then next week we'll diagnose. We'll say, okay, well, this is the situation. So this is the diagnostic, right? And then we'll look at what type of decisions you're wanting to make for what type of opportunities. And then we'll look at how you actually can do that. Okay? So this week we're analyzing. So take a pen and a paper and write down for yourself, okay, did I get a lot of bookings this year? Right? Did I book the amount of roles that I wanted to? And you may not have had a specific number in mind, but like, do I feel some fulfillment? Am I 100% fulfilled about the jobs that I booked this year? Whether in number or in the quality of the roles that you booked this year. Are you 100% happy? And you can share that if you want in the comments. You can do that on a piece of paper for yourself. Am I happy with the number of jobs that I got? Or the type of jobs that I got as an actor? And then you can look at, let's go backwards. Am I happy about the amount and quality of auditions that I got? Right? Do I get enough auditions? And 10 might be enough for one person, and another one may want 100, right? Or you may want, like, not to have too much commercial auditions, right? And you want to have film. So do I get the auditions, the amount of auditions and the type of auditions that I actually want for myself? And let's just write that too. Am I 100% happy and fulfilled with what I'm getting in terms of jobs, the booking the roles, in terms of auditions? Or am I 80%? Am I 0%? Am I 10%? And again, we're not judging that number. We're just being real with ourselves. We're just looking at what we're getting and being real with, this is where I'm at and this is where I want to be. If we're not going to do that, we're going to be foggy all the time because we're not setting ourselves up for a specific place to go to. And so we're just being wishy-washy, right? So what have I been getting? Am I getting enough money from acting? Because that's something that you need to live, right? You may be getting a lot of jobs. You may be getting a lot of unpaid short films or projects. And maybe you've abandoned your day-to-day job and you're wanting to get more money from acting. So you want to have that clear in front of you. Yes, I am working all the time. Yes, I'm booking all the time. Yes, I'm getting plenty of auditions. And no, I'm not getting the money. So you want to be very clear about that too, so that you can make decisions that make sense for you, right? So you also want to ask yourself, am I 100% happy about my team, about my agent, about my manager, or not? Do I have a great agent, but we don't communicate well, or he doesn't send me to the right auditions for me, right? So you want to look at that also, assessing it in a professional way, not in an emotional way, not in a judgmental way. It doesn't mean that there's anything good or bad about where you're at. We're just doing a check-in. We're pulling the blood and we're looking at the levels of things to then see what we're going to do. But let's not waste any time on judging that, on making that good, bad, better than the others. That's not why we're here, because that's not going to move the needle. So in a way, what we're trying to do here is let's be responsible. Let's be, let's self-coach ourselves to move through the end of 2021 to get into a position where we'll feel more empowered in 2022. Okay. We looked at your jobs, right? The jobs that you booked, the auditions that you had, the team that you have. And we also looked at the money that it's bringing you, right? So let's be clear about that. Let's be really clear about that. And that's just what it is, so that you know in a professional environment, before making any decisions, before taking action, we want to actually look at what is happening. When we know what is happening, then we know what to do, right? Then we know how to take action. And if we're just not going to do that and get really emotional about, this doesn't work and it's frustrating and I'm not getting enough of this and my agent is not sending me enough of that, whether you're 100% unhappy, 10% unhappy, it doesn't matter. You want to assess where you're at. Just take a hard look, check in, observe. Don't judge, just review and have that truth in front of you of where you are at in your career. And then what we'll do next week is we'll diagnose, right? We'll diagnose to see what's actually happening and why. And then in the week after that, we'll start to make some decisions depending on the opportunities that are there for you. And then in the last week, we'll look at, okay, let's do it. Let's go get those opportunities and change the curve that I'm in. Okay? All right. I hope this was helpful, you guys, to move through the frustrations and the big emotions that you may be feeling at the end of this year about your career, whether that's 100% frustrated or 10 or 5% frustrated, so that we can look step by step at what there is to do, at the root causes, and how you can show up in a very different way for yourself and for your career in 2022. Thank you guys. It was nice to connect. Please shoot us any message if you're resonating a lot with this, if you want more information about the work we do, if you want to get on our wait list. We also have a link up in the link in the bio. Bye guys. Bye.